putting the Ten Commandments in our schools? Really? Because nothing screams un-American like one group forcing their religion down everyone's throats.
I arrived in Texas to visit my mom for the summer and took some time to drive around Denton County. 5 public schools, a mixture of elementary, middle schools, and high schools, mostly modern and impressive. Probably teachers inside already prepping for the fall, the quotes, the colors, the calendars. And this year, some of them will need to make space for something else. Because on June 20th, 2025, Governor Greg Abbott signed House Bill 10 into law. Starting September 1st, every classroom in Texas will be required to display a frame poster of the Ten Commandments, at least 16 by 20 inches in large, legible font. Not optional, not historical display, not curriculum required. Picture this. A 6-year-old trudges into school, backpack in hand, looks up, and the first thing she sees is, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." No matter your faith or lack of, your public classroom is now stamped with a religion less than half of Texans call their own. In a survey of Texans, only 13% are strongly in favor of putting the Ten Commandments in schools. 23% sympathize. One group thinks it knows best for the majority. In this report by the Public Religion Research Institute, they also reported that support for Christian nationalism is positively associated with lower education levels. That's right. The people who want the Ten Commandments displayed have less education than those who oppose. Supporters say it's about tradition, morals, restoration. But critics, including the ACLU, Americans United for Separation of Church and State, the Freedom from Religious Foundation, and dozens of faith leaders across religions, say otherwise. They argue this isn't cultural preservation. It's state-sponsored religion, imposed by law in public schools, funded by taxpayers, enforced on children who may never have chosen that faith. And yet no one's asking the obvious question. Are these even good commandments? Welcome to Around the World of Faith, where today we examine what the commandments are actually offering us and ask the only question that matters: is it enough to merit a place on our walls and in our hearts? Denton County is located above Dallas and Fort Worth, the place where I-35 east and west merged before continuing north, a place my family lived in the early 2000s. My parents retired, my dad died, and likely where I'll one day do the same. Let's rewind for a second. Before we even get to the Ten Commandments, we have to talk about their origin, total cinematic drama. Moses is wandering the desert, laying low after trouble in Egypt. Then, out of nowhere, he spots a bush. It's on fire, but not burning. God speaks from the flames and tells Moses to lead his people out of slavery. Moses hesitates, understandably, but eventually agrees. Cue plagues, parted seas, and thunder from the sky. And now, Mount Sinai. This is where deconstructing religion gets fun. Moses climbs the mountain, alone. Up there, the Bible says God writes the commandments himself with his finger on 2 stone tablets. That's right. The creator of galaxies takes time out to do some divine engraving. No handwritten notes on climate change, poverty, or child abuse, but we get a crude list of do's and don'ts. For the spiritually curious, or anyone navigating faith after religion, it's fair to ask, was this a moment of cosmic truth, or was it one people's rules somehow now sold as universal law? To me, they always look like tombstones, because that's exactly what they are. Gravestones for curiosity, gravestones for interfaith dialogue, and gravestones for the evolution of belief. Not the kind that moves forward with science and reason, but the kind that got buried when questions became dangerous. And once the dust settles and you actually read the commandments, it's a little underwhelming. For all that divine spectacle, what we got was something like, don't murder, don't steal, don't cheat on your wife. Oh, no idols, no other gods, and definitely don't disrespect me. Is it universal moral guidance or a paranoid deity's house rules? Let's break it down. If you're deconstructing religion, this is where you start to see the cracks. The first 4 commandments aren't even about how we treat each other. They're all about how to worship God properly, or else. No other gods, no graven images, don't use his name for your own reasons, and take 1 day off a week. Out of 10 moral slots, 40% are about stroking divine ego. That's fine if you're already in the system, but for those of us exploring spirituality beyond organized religion, these rules feel less like moral wisdom and more like cosmic insecurity. Commandments 5 through 10 are a bit more practical. Honor your parents, don't kill, don't commit adultery, don't steal, don't lie, and don't covet. But even these have problems. Honor your father and mother is a blanket command. No exceptions. Abusive parents, deadbeat dad, sorry, honor them. And don't covet? That's a thought crime. You're not even allowed to want something that someone else has? Apparently, God draws the line not at action, but desire. Good luck enforcing that in a second grade classroom. Let's also remember there's 2 different versions of the 10 Commandments in the Bible, one in Exodus, one in Deuteronomy, with slightly different wording and order, and a third official version in Exodus 34 that's just weird. It includes things like not boiling a goat in its mother's milk. So, which version is going in the classroom? Do we vote? King James, the Hebrew, Protestant, Catholic, Jewish? Because, surprise, even religious people cannot agree on the list. You asked for a sign? Okay, but maybe next time ask for a better list. If we explore around the world of faith, we find other cultures pass down moral paths too. And honestly, some are better. They're wiser, deeper, and far more humane. Let's talk about Buddhism's 8-fold path. It's not a list of commandments. No fear, no punishment, no trying to please an insecure deity. It's about liberation, a way to live, not just a way to obey. You don't have to be seeking spirituality beyond religion to note a kind of clarity that feels refreshingly human. Buddhism's 8-fold path asks that we clearly understand reality, intend to act with compassion, speak truthfully and without harm, act ethically, avoiding suffering, earn a living without exploitation, put in steady effort, not perfection, stay present and aware, and develop focus and inner stillness. No fire and brimstone, no divine ego management, just an invitation to live more consciously, more ethically, more awake. You may or may not lose your religion, but you won't lose your soul. This might be something actually worth hanging on the wall. In Hinduism, you get ethical precepts, not threats, but practices. Things like nonviolence, truthfulness, contentment, self-discipline, study of the self. These aren't thou shalt nots. They're habits meant to grow humility, generosity, mindfulness, and inner discipline. It's moral training, not for the afterlife, but for the inner life. Less about avoiding hell, more about becoming someone you'd actually respect. For those exploring faith after religion, it's not a list carved in stone. It's a way to move through the world. Islam, like its Abrahamic siblings, has commandments, a lot of them. Laws about justice, compassion, and yes, even how to treat your neighbor's cat. But what stands out, especially when you're deconstructing religion, is how much of Islam is about character. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The best among you are those with the best character." Not the loudest believers, not the best rule followers, just the kindest people. Islam also offers structure, not stone tablets, but 5 pillars: faith, prayer, generosity, fasting, and pilgrimage. Simple, steady practices, less about fear, more about rhythm, community, and self-discipline. Even if you're not Muslim, there's something to admire in a system where generosity and humility are sacred. In many Native American traditions, there aren't commandments or pillars, there's relationship, not just with a god, but with the land, the animals, the ancestors, and each other. Morality isn't carved in stone, it's told in stories, shared by firelight, passed down like seeds. The goal isn't obedience, it's balance. For the spiritually curious, it's a reminder. Sometimes the deepest wisdom doesn't come from the sky, it comes from listening to the earth. And then there's secular morality. No prophets, no scriptures, just people trying to live together without ruining everything. Socrates to Confucius to modern humanists, the core questions stay the same. How do we reduce suffering, increase fairness, take responsibility for each other? There's no divine reward, no eternal punishment, just the idea that this world matters, and how we treat each other here might be the whole point. For those seeking faith after religion, this kind of ethics, grounded in empathy, not eternity, feels more honest, more practical, and frankly, more kind. And what's powerful is, this isn't at odds with religion. Humanist values sit comfortably alongside faith, any faith, because compassion isn't exclusive, it's universal. So here's a radical idea. If we're going to hang a set of moral rules in our classroom, let's pick the best ones. Let's not freeze our ethics in stone. Let's crowdsource our code. Let's write something for this century. Maybe something like, be kind, learn before judging. Help someone every day, protect the vulnerable, be honest, take care of the earth, and question everything, including this list. Because faith isn't about obeying the oldest rules. It's about seeking the truest ones, even if that means losing your religion, rebuilding it, and finding something better. If you believe faith can grow beyond doctrine, if you believe morality is more than obedience, if you're spiritually curious and searching for something more, you are not alone. I promise you are not alone. Thank you.